Welcome to the Stories of School Leadership podcast. Inspirational leaders, shared experiences, creating connections. I'm Emma Lurie, and thank you for joining me as I share the journeys, stories and inspiration of amazing educational leaders from all around the world. In this episode, I'm joined by Rasheda Haq, who shares her journey to become a deputy head teacher. She is open and honest. She is so fantastic to listen to, really lifted me up in terms of thinking about positivity in our sector. I really hope you enjoy this one. Let's get going. Rasheda, thank you so much for joining me. It's really wonderful to have you with me to have a little chat about leadership and your experience. So it'd be fab to know, who you are and where you are joining us from.
So I am a deputy head teacher from Leicester. I migrated here actually, so I moved here from Dewsbury, which is up north near Leeds. But yeah, I'm a deputy head teacher at a primary school in Leicester at the moment.
Amazing, well done. Up the primary people. Although we support all sectors of schooling, of course. I'm just a bit biased. So it's been really great to share with people, and because I'm nosy, it'd be lovely to hear a little bit about your own school experience, personally, what that was like for you, maybe some of the challenges you faced or the great bits about it. It's really nice to know people's own sort of school experience before they went into education as a career.
I loved school. I think that's probably not the norm for a lot of people, unfortunately, but I really, really enjoyed school. I think I like academia, and my parents really did kind of support all of that kind of learning for us. So I really loved school. We had a massive upheaval when I was in year 4 because my dad had a really horrific accident. So we moved from London, where I was initially, up to the north to where my mum's parents were so that we could have some support. And school was really for me I suppose, that kind of safe space when all this change was going on, because bless my parents, obviously they were getting on with it all, but my mum was pregnant, she was close to giving birth at the time, and everything was going on with my dad, and school was just what I knew was going on. I knew what to expect, I knew where to go. I did well at school, to be honest, so I didn't have issues kind of settling in and things like that. And then high school, my parents put us into independent schools. So again, not like Etonian, not massively affluent or anything like that, but it was small and close-knit, and I really thrived because it was an all-girls school and I could kind of be confident and be myself. And that really did set me up for when I then moved into the professional sector, if you like. I didn't really think I'd be a teacher. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point, and then an architect. And then I fell into teaching because I went and did a placement as part of enrichment. I don't know if you remember that. We used to do enrichment at school before, in sixth form. Yeah. So I did a sports enrichment, and they employed me as a teaching assistant when I left school. And then it stuck and I just stayed.
Amazing. And so, did you kind of stay in the same area then going into your career? Did you stick around that part?
Yeah, I actually did.
Going into teaching?
Yeah, because when I was 17 and 18, placements were where you could get to on the bus, and it was very local. So yeah, I was quite local. It actually happened to be my youngest sibling's primary school. So we literally just get dropped off at the same time, picked up at the same time. And yeah, I stayed there for when I was a teaching assistant. And then they actually pushed me quite quickly through to being a HLTA. So I used to do lots of cover and unqualified teaching. But then I moved to Leicester. So I was, while I was up north, I did start my degree, but I did it with Open University. So when I moved to Leicester, I could obviously just carry on working and studying through distant learning. And then I moved to Leicester, and that's where I kind of qualified and went down the actual route of teaching. So it's been a kind of tale of two cities almost.
Okay, so you did that part with Open University, and then what was your next step?
My Open University step itself was a funny one because I started my degree and then I decided that I wanted to be an architect, remember? So I went back and I did a foundation diploma in art and design. And then I decided, oh, well, actually, architecture will take far too long. So I'm back into completing my actual degree. So then when I eventually completed my degree with the Open University, I was working with a school at the time as an administrator. And I was desperate to teach. And I'd already taught kind of cover supervision and things like that before, so they were happy for me to do that on the side if they ever needed somebody. And I told them that I wanted to apply for my QTS route, and because I'd kind of gathered all of that evidence, they were happy to support me. So I was really quite lucky. They supported me to do the assessment only route with the University of Gloucester. So I did that. I got through to the interview round, and then I fell pregnant. And so I was on maternity leave. And unfortunately, my baby was stillborn, but I was still entitled to the maternity leave. So for me, it was kind of, in order not to be in my headspace, I actually completed all the placement bits and kind of, the conditions that they have for you to qualify. I did that during my maternity leave because it was really the only way I could cope mentally with everything that was going on. So when I did return to work, I was basically ready for completing my qualification. And again, it just helped me to have something to focus on and to work towards. So I completed my qualification, and the day that she basically said, yeah, you've done it, it's all fine, one of our middle leaders left, and we're a very small school. And because we're an independent school, I was one of the only qualified staff there. And we're like, well, so you've qualified, that's great. You've got the job of middle leader now. I was like, you are? So I think it was literally on the day that they told me that they were going to promote me to middle leader. But basically I was stepping into somebody's shoes because they needed somebody to do the job. And the day after that, I found out I was pregnant again. And so it was a real roller coaster, but it was life, I suppose. So I was teaching and kind of doing some sort of, I was called the curriculum lead. So I was doing all of that, overseeing and trying to do that. Went on maternity leave, and they had Ofsted. And I remember, because I went to my mum's to have the baby, and I was there. So my baby he was not even 6 weeks old at this time, and he was sleeping, and I got the call from the head teacher, we've got Ofsted, and I just need you to talk me through this data. I was like, right, okay. And I was sat on the bottom of the attic stairs talking him through the data so that he could actually obviously work with Ofsted. It all worked fine, thankfully. But it's just the rigmarole of being a leader in education, isn't it? Your life sometimes it's really hard to find the line between being a professional and having a personal life. And that took me a while, especially once I had him and I went back, and it just became a running joke that I was sending emails at 1 o'clock in the morning. Bearing in mind, I did tell staff that never reply. I don't ever want to see you reply to me at that time. It's literally only because I'm awake at that time. I can only work at that time. So that's why I'm saying. And I didn't even know if you could. I don't know if you could schedule emails then, because this was a while ago. But I didn't used to schedule them. Once I learned that you could, I started scheduling them so that it was more suitable time. But yeah, and then it just kind of carried on, and I moved into senior leadership soon after that. And I managed to find a balance. And I think I've got the balance right at the moment. At the moment, I think that's the caveat that I have to give myself.
Oh my gosh. What a roller coaster that you've just shared. I'm so sorry that you had that experience. That's so awful. And to then have so many other things, I guess, thrown at you.
Yeah.
What was the support like, if you don't mind sharing, like during that time when you had that time to kind of study? Was that something that was available to you to do that? You know, I know sometimes that time when you're not at work, whether that's compassionate leave or other leave, some organizations can feel really unsure about how to manage that time and what people might want to be doing or not doing.
Yeah. So from a personal perspective, I come from a South Asian background, and at the time I was trying to get the balance right, of kind of meeting traditional expectations, but being the me that I was brought up to be, and kind of be supported to be. And my parents did used to get quite frustrated with me because I am quite loud and proud, and I will kind of share and sometimes overshare, but that's who I am. And then I was sometimes suppressing that part of me. So I was trying to find that balance. And then I went through the stillbirth. And again, it was almost like work became my saving space, where I knew who I was at work. I might not have known who I was in my personal life, especially with everything that had gone on, but at work I knew who I was. And because I'd found out so late in the pregnancy, I was actually 38 weeks. I was literally 2 weeks off my due date, and it was only by happenstance. I was on maternity leave already, and I found out, and my employer was really, really, really supportive. They never mentioned a word of, are you coming back then, at all. It was just, well, of course, you can have as much time as you need. And so that maternity leave, I think it probably, if I'd gone back earlier, it would have probably been good for me. But the fact that I had that time to still try and find my balance personally, but have that opportunity to do my placements without feeling as though I was sacrificing